Welcome back to Create with Sweet Parakeet. Today I'm going to show you how to do a corner to corner square. So we need a pair of scissors, we need a yarn needle to weave in our ends, we need a crochet hook, and then your choice of yarn. Today I'm going to use a weight 4 acrylic, and with that yarn the suggested hook size is a 5.5 millimeter or a I hook. So let's go ahead and get started. So with the corner to corner, this is the corner to corner kind of close up. So with the corner to corner, we actually we start in the corner and we go to the other corner. So we're going to actually be increasing and then be decreasing. So what I love about this is, one, you can do a lot of Afghans with this type of crocheting, and two, I love the texture. So you're basically making these like little blocks, and it's a beautiful, beautiful texture. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're going to start with a slip knot. If you don't know how to do a slip knot, go ahead and pause the video and you can check out my slip knot tutorial on my channel, and be sure to subscribe so you get notifications on new videos. Okay, so we have our slip knot, so we're going to start with chaining 5. So I do a corner to corner variation of 5 and 2. So anytime I make a block, I chain 5, and then while I'm working in my square, I chain 2, and I'll show you that. So we're going to start with chaining 5. So 1, and to chain you just yarn over and pull through the loop on the hook. So it's 3, 4, and 5. So then we are going to double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So you don't count the loop that's on the hook. So here's my first one. So 1, 2, and 3. So it's going to be right there. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to double crochet. So yarn over, insert hook, yarn over. We have 3 loops on the hook. So you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we have 2 more chains. So we're going to put a double crochet here to double crochet here to make 3 double crochets. Because our block, each block that we make is going to be 3 double crochets and a chain 2. So we have our chain 2 here and our 3 double crochets. So then we're going to turn. So this is our first block. So then we're going to turn and we're going to chain 5 to increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So we have 1, 2, and 3. 1 double crochet, and then we're going to chain in the next 2 chains, or we're going to double crochet in the next 2 chains. I go too fast on the double crochets, I do have a double crochet video that you can watch. So that's our other block. So we have 2 blocks. This is our first block, this is our second block. So we're going to attach using that chain 2. So in that chain 2 space, we're going to slip stitch. So we're going to insert, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through. We're going to chain 2 to add a block, because we're still increasing, because this is our increase row. So chain 2 and then 3 double crochets in that same chain 2 space. So 1, 2, and 3. So there's our 2 blocks for our second row. So each time you go up in a row, so as when you're increasing, you will have the same number of blocks for which row that you're on. So we're going to do that again. So we're going to turn, and this is another increasing row, so we're going to chain 5 to start our block. I didn't even count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We're going to double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook, so we do not count the loop on the hook. So this is going to be 1, 2, and 3. So yarn over, insert hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And then we have 2 more chains that we're going to put our double crochets in to have 3 double crochets in our block. So there's our new block. So we are going to slip stitch in our chain 2 space from our previous block. So yarn over, pull through, and then pull through. I'm going to chain 2, 1, 2, 3 double crochets in the same chain 2 space. So there's our block. So then we're going to go ahead and attach our block. So this is our previous chain 2 on that block. We're going to slip stitch and chain 2 because we're still on our increase rows, and then 3 double crochets in that same chain 2 space, and that is row 3. So let's go ahead and turn and then chain 5, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to double crochet in the 3rd chain from the hook. So we have 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to put a double crochet in the following 2 chains. And then we're going to attach our block in that chain 2 space with a slip stitch, chain 2, 3 double crochets, and then slip stitch into our next chain 2, chain 2, double crochet 3 times in that chain 2 space, and then insert into that chain 2, slip stitch, chain 2, and 3 double crochets. And that is round 4. So that is increasing. So you can increase however many rows up. In my previous example, I did 8 rows. So it was 8 rows this way, and then I started my decrease. And this block is about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 inches by 7 inches. So just kind of that's how my gauge is for my tension. If you have a tighter tension or a looser tension, you're not going to get the exact same thing. And if you are using a different type of yarn than I am, then you're not going to get the same gauge either. But just to kind of give you an insight of size, I did 8 rows of increase before I started my decrease, and I was at a 7-inch square. So go ahead and do your increase for as many times as you want. Pause the video and then come back when you are ready to start the decrease. so I just did 4 rows, so I'm gonna go ahead and start my decrease. So I made my last block here, so I'm gonna turn, and instead of chaining 5, instead of building on my block, because if I build more blocks then I'm increasing, so instead of chaining 5, I'm going to slip stitch across until I get to here. So I'm going to slip stitch in the top of my double crochets, so right in there. I'm going to insert and pull through, and then the next one right here, I'm going to slip stitch, and then I'm going to slip stitch in that chain 2 space. And this just allows me not to add any more height to my block, but it allows me to reposition so that I can chain 2 and put my block here and start my decrease. So then I'm going to, so I chain 2, and I'm going to put my 3 double crochets in that same chain 2 space, just like we did before. Oops. Just like we did before to create our block in the center. We just didn't do our adding of a block on that row, on our decrease row. So go ahead and slip stitch, chain 2, 3 double crochets, so 1, 2, and 3, and then we're going to slip stitch, and then chain 2, 1, 2, and then 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to slip stitch because we have to attach our block, but we are not going to chain 2. We just attached our block. Now we are going to turn, because if we chain 2 and put 3 double crochets in there, then we're adding a block, and which means that we're increasing this side, and we want to decrease because we want a square. So we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to slip stitch across here to get to this chain 2 space. So we're going to slip stitch in the top of those double crochets, and then in our chain 2, slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 2 and do our block. So 3 double crochets, attach our block, so we're going to slip stitch, chain 2, 3 double crochets, all the way across. And then when we get to that, when we get done with this block, with your last block, all you're going to do is you're going to slip stitch in the top here, and not going to add a block. And you can see, I made it like a little swatch, but you can see as you go across it's starting to flatten out, and as you're going across, or down here, it's flattening out. So this is how your decrease goes. And then you continue that until you get to the end. Oops. So you turn, and then we're going to slip stitch across. Slip stitch across. And slip stitch in that chain 2. 1, 2, 3 double crochets. And then you're going to attach it. And that was my last block. So I'm going to chain 1, pull through, make a big old long loop. So I have my end to weave in. And that is my block. So this is, how many rows did I do? I think I did 4. So I did a 4 by 4, and it looks like it's about 3.5 by 3.5. But look at that texture, isn't that amazing? I just love that texture. And like if you don't have your blocks, you know, like if they're squished to one side, you can go ahead and move them over. Sometimes they get a little smushed when you're working at them, but, and that's how you corner to corner crochet. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so that you get notifications on upcoming videos. Thank you. Happy crocheting!